just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Welcome to Talking Tobacco. I am your host, Bill, and today's episode is going to be all about Cornell and Diehl's last small batch of 2025 Fires on the Levee. I thought I was done buying tobacco for the year, and then lo and behold, Jeremy Reeves and Cornell and Diehl dropped this Fires on the Levee small batch. Typically, I don't get sucked in too much with the small batch blends. You know, we all have that case of FOMO once in a while, that fear of missing out. And most of us try to fight it off. Some guys just roll with it. I tend to fight off the FOMO with the small batch lines because I've had a few, not many, and I thought some were okay. Others were great, like Carolina Red Flake wound up being for me. But I didn't really realize that till years later because I had the first one I had was the 2022 version, which I didn't think much of at the time, and I kind of put it away and then broke it out years later, and now I love it. So I did get the 2025 Carolina Red Flake with Perique, which I haven't opened yet, but I will this spring. But I did buy and try the Sun Bear Black Locust, I think last year in 2024. And I thought it was okay. It was, honey topped, and, I was like, it's fine. I have some Sansepolcro. I also have, what's the other one called? Steamworks. Steamworks I haven't opened yet. Sansepolcro I've opened and tried. That's with the Italian Dark Fired. That's really good, but so far it seems pretty strong for me. So I got to take it in tiny pipes here and there. So for the most part, I haven't really gone crazy for the small batches. I don't feel the need to have to get them all. But this one struck me. This one piqued my interest, I have to say. I love the story behind it, and that's really what sucked me in. And we're going to get into the story and the behind the scenes of the making of this blend. And what can I say? I'm a sucker for a good story. I sell real estate. I mentioned that before. And that's kind of what we do with our clients when we're selling their houses. We try to tell a story about the home and the people that live there. And I'm a sucker for it. So this story, it sucked me in. I'm not going to lie. So I was pretty much buying it based on the story alone. Because although this is a Virginia Perique, there's Dark Fire Kentucky in here. And I had a feeling it was going to be a pretty significant amount. And I'm kind of sensitive towards Dark Fired. It feels like it kind of overwhelms the blend for me. And a lot of times when I have it, like McBaron's HH Old Dark Fired, that's a ton, right? This is less than that for sure. But I didn't know that at the time. And a lot of times I just, when I hear Dark Fired, I'm just like, nah, I don't need it. But there are blends that have it that I absolutely love. Like Rattray's Howl the Wind, I believe, is a Virginia Perique Burley, but that Burley is Dark Fired. So I love that blend, but there's way less Dark Fired in that than this. Which obviously, again, I didn't know at the time because I didn't have this yet. But the story sucked me in. They were kind of marketing this as a Christmas blend as well because the story does revolve around Christmas, and we'll get into that in a minute. And then the tin art with the Mississippi River, and it's nighttime, and the skies, you could still see that dark blue sky, and then these gigantic bonfires that are right up against the Mississippi. Just sucked me in. What can I say? Listen, it's not beneath me to admit that I got sucked in by the marketing. I did, but I'm glad I did because, spoiler alert, I really do like this blend. And I'll get into the tasting notes after we get into the story, which will start now. This blend, without them saying it, they didn't need to, is basically Jeremy Reeves, the head blender of Cornell and Diehl. It's his homage to the Perique farmers in St. James Parish, where he gets the Perique for the blends at Cornell and Diehl. And they're the owners of a farm called 31 Farms. So he goes down there a lot. He knows the owner, mom and pop. They've been there forever. And this blend is pretty much kind of like a celebration of probably his relationship with them and everything they do there in St. James Parish, and by creating this Perique. Okay, so first off, why Fires on the Levee? What is the name? What does it mean? How is it significant to the region? So in St. James Parish, Louisiana, they have parishes instead of counties, which are basically, we have them in South Philly too, but they're basically neighborhoods or regions are named after their Catholic parish instead of counties. So St. James Parish actually spans across two sides of the Mississippi River, where on one side is St. Michael's Church, and there's parishioners that are on the other side of the river. So because it was kind of hard to get across the Mississippi, back in the early 1900s, a lot of families there only went to Mass once a year. And they went to midnight Mass Christmas Eve. And in order for them to see, getting on these little boats and seeing themselves, needing light to cross the river, the parishioners on the church side of the river would create these giant bonfires so that people on the other side can cross the Mississippi, come to midnight Mass on Christmas Eve, and then make their way back across the river safely. So on the tin art, that's what we are looking at. It looks like nighttime, and you have the Mississippi River. You see two sides, and on one side, you see these gigantic bonfires. They almost look like, if you ever seen No Country for Old Men, and those like oil towers, the wood structures, and the one that they kind of blew up, or the one that caught on fire. And that's kind of what it looks like. It looks like these giant oil rigs, but obviously they're just all wood that are on fire. So it creates light for the people on the other side to cross. That's the whole idea behind the name Fires on the Levee. They actually still have these bonfires today, but now they do it more as a tradition, and they tell the kids that it's a way for them to light the skies for Santa to be able to see his way to the area. So it's still a tradition there, which is really cool. I think that they put limits now on how high they can build the structures, because I think they got out of hand. But apparently they have competitions with the structures that they make, and before they light them on fire, which is really cool. So I got a lot of this information, all of this information, from a video that smokingpipes.com put on YouTube, interviewing Jeremy Reeves and the owners of 31 Farms. So I'm going to put a link to that video in the show notes of this episode, because it's really cool. If you get a chance, watch the video. It's really cool. You'll see the owners talking about exactly what I'm saying here. Obviously, you're getting it secondhand from me, but it was really cool to learn what exactly was behind the name of this small batch blend. And when you think about the fires, you can, and all this wood burning, you do think of like Dark Fire Kentucky and a campfire, and that's definitely in this blend for sure. Those flavors and aromas are in the blend. So let's now get into what the components are. Okay, the components for the blend contain 2003 Red Virginias, 2015 and 2021 Dark Fired Kentucky, 2023 Bright Virginias, and 2023 Brazilian Dark Virginias, and Perique from 31 Farms. I also saw on that same Smoking Pipes video that Jeremy Reeves mentioned that the 2003 Red Virginias are the same ones that are in Bijou, which is one of their regular production Virginias, if any of you guys ever had that. All right, so here we go. We're going to do, I have the tin here, but it's empty. I'm going to open up my jar. Jar note. It smells delicious. I know that doesn't help. Smells like there's a sweetness there and a little smoky from the dark fire. It almost smells like some kind of dessert that they set on fire. I'm not a fancy guy, so I don't know what that means, but some kind of like creme brulee or some kind of baked Alaskan. I don't know. I only know the word baked Alaskan because I saw it on one of my favorite Christmas movies, which was Scrooged with Bill Murray, when he throws the water on that waiter that he thinks is on fire. That's not. I think that's what the guy was working on, was a baked Alaskan. But that's what it smells like. There's definitely a sweetness there. There's a sweet and smoky thing going on in the tin aroma. So the first bowl I had of this, I didn't think much of it. I just was like smoking it and I was like, oh man, all I could taste is dark fire. Like that hit me right away. And again, I'm kind of dark fire sensitive. So take that for what it's worth. Glad I didn't stop there because I knew I was going to do this review, because a lot of the blends, well, most of the blends I do are, stuff that's been around forever. And I wanted to try and get this out as quickly as possible, but I also didn't want to rush it because I love the story so much. And I didn't want to just smoke a couple bowls and then do the review. So I actually waited an extra week and I smoked, I don't know, maybe 10 bowls, maybe something like that. And I smoked them out of a wide variety of pipes. And I'm glad I did, because I had different results in different pipe sizes. And it was a good lesson. It was a good reminder to me to really give blends the opportunity to shine in different bowl sizes. I don't know if shapes so much matter. They probably do. But for me, it was definitely like bowl sizes. I had different results, and I'll get into them soon. But the first bowl, again, I just kind of tasted that dark fire. And I was like, man, oh, wow. I was like, okay. Now, most of my bowls, well, I've talked about this in the past. When I like to smoke the most is first thing in the morning with a cup of coffee. Some of you might be thinking that this blend's too strong to smoke first thing in the morning, and it may be, but I would say give it a chance if you wind up getting this, or if you do have it. You'd be surprised on what your palate and what your tolerance can be for nicotine and strength if you just try things a couple times. So this was just a fun, good reminder for me to really try to mix things up, and I'm really glad I did. So after the first bowl, I put it in a couple different pipes and a couple that have different bowl sizes. And each time I smoked it, it just got better and better, and I really, really started really liking it. The Dark Fire Kentucky is still the main character of this movie, but it's not overwhelming. So again, I mentioned this earlier about liking Howl the Wine, and I believe there's a pinch of Dark Fire in there. It has more than that, but it has less than like HH's Old Dark Fire. So it sits somewhere right in the middle there. You definitely get the Virginias and the Perique. So it's not overwhelming anything, but all these flavors kind of create this very Christmassy flavor bomb in your mouth. There's a lot of baking spices that are going on. There's sweetness. There's a smokiness. The Red Virginias, this is funny because I was trying to take like voice notes with my phone because I didn't have a pen around with me when I was smoking these blends. I would always have my phone and I would open the voice app and I was talking into it. One of the things I said was like these smoky Red Virginias almost reminded me of, I don't know if you have a fireplace at home or a fire pit outside, or if ever, went on vacation to the Poconos or whatever and just played with a fire. When the fire gets really low and all you see is them like smoldering red coals, and if you put one piece of wood on top, the whole thing's going to go up again. But when it's at its lowest, that heat that's on the bottom and it's just simmering smoke, that's what the Red Virginias felt like they were doing. They were just this smoky, simmering, caramelized. That was the word that I kept coming into my head, was like these, it tastes caramelized, like they taste like there's just brown sugar. Actually, in the Smoking Pipes video, Andy White, I think his name's Andy White, I can't exactly know his last name, but he works at Smoking Pipes. He mentioned I think he said caramelized bacon or something like that. And I was like, I could see that, it's got this like, so when you think of sweets, it's not a high sweet like a milk chocolate or something like that. This is a very deep and dark, smoky sweet. Caramelized is kind of the word. Even caramelized onions can be sweet. Not that I taste onion in this, but you know what I mean. When you caramelize something, it brings out the natural sugar, and I feel like it brings out the natural sugar in these Red Virginias. Now, they mention that there's bright Virginia in this. I don't taste bright at all, and I love bright Virginia. So I don't get any citrus or any kind of lemon or orange, maybe a dark orange, maybe like a burnt orange, something like that. But it's mostly those reds, the dark fire, and it's got a nice spicy perique hint to it for sure. What was probably the most interesting thing for me is this is the first blend that really took on different characteristics in different bowl sizes. Now, I've heard guys say this over the years, especially watching the amount of YouTube videos that I watch on pipe tobacco reviews. And I've heard it over the years, over and over. Why it's never really sunk into my thick head, I don't know. But for me, bowl sizes were always like, I pretty much kept them to two categories. I would smoke my delicate tobaccos in a narrow bowl. And what are our delicate tobaccos? Any kind of tobacco blend that's not a flavor bomb. Like, every English blend I've ever had, that's going in a wide bowl. That just smokes better to me with more leaf being exposed and burning at once. Rather, so it's burning almost across than burning down. You know what I mean? Like, think about the surface layer. Now, I know we're talking about minuscule measurements here when you're talking pipe tobacco bowl sizes. But, if you have a wider bowl for an English blend, you're going to be burning more tobacco at once. So you have a better chance of burning Virginia with Oriental and Latakia at the same time, instead of think about an extremely, extremely narrow bowl. And if you were smoking an English ribbon, you might just be hitting Latakia, and then right underneath it is Virginia, and then maybe underneath that is Oriental. Now, I know I know we're talking like minuscule measurements and stuff like that, just not to repeat myself, but you know what I'm saying. So there has to be a component. To what level does that really affect the smokes? I don't know. But what I do notice is this. There's certain tobaccos, like if I took, let's just say a straight Virginia, and I put it in a wide bowl, it just, for me, I don't know, it needs to be in a narrow bowl to kind of compress or keep those flavors more concentrated than spread out. Does that make sense? I don't know. But when I smoke it, in my mind, that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm tasting. And with this blend, so that would be like the most extreme differences for me is I say this to myself when I'm smoking. Oh, this pipe tobacco is not hitting. When I say hitting, I mean like I know those flavors I was looking for in that blend. I'm not getting them. Why is that? Is it the bowl? Is this bowl too wide? Let me get another narrow bowl. So that's what I always say to myself when I'm walking around talking to myself because nobody here listens to me talk about tobacco. The wife surely is not. So I'll be smoking something, maybe the bowl's too wide. I say, oh man, this isn't hitting. I dump it and I'll just get another pipe bowl, something a little more narrow. I'll pack that and I'll say, oh, that's hitting. Okay, I got it now. But for the most part, it's either I'm getting the flavors or not getting the flavors. So if I'm smoking like full Virginia flake from Sam Galleth, just a straight Virginia, right? There's a couple different Virginias in there, but it's a straight Virginia. And then if I'm not getting those flavors that I'm looking for, worst case scenario is I'm not getting the flavors. I don't get a different flavor. I just either get the flavors or I don't get the flavors. Now with this tobacco, I'm getting two different things in bowl sizes. So that's really interesting. It's not like this has to be in a wide bowl or it has to be in a narrow bowl. It could be in either, but you get different flavors. So I'll tell you right now, and I've tried this more than once. So I'm standing by this. Of course, my palate is the only one of its kind. Your experience may vary. When I smoke this in one of my Virginia pipes, which are typically a more narrow bowl, I get extreme is not the right word, an obvious sweet note at the light, and it stays on there for a while. So whatever that sweetness is, that's there, and it's at the top, and as soon as I light it. When it's in a narrow bowl, it's not there. There's other flavors there, but that sweetness is really there on the narrow bowl itself. When I'm smoking this out of a wider bowl, I don't get that sweetness or it's extremely faint. But what I do get is I get this flavor of roasted chestnuts, which sounds so Christmassy, and I swear I'm not making this up. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. That's a song somewhere during Christmas. And that's I get that nutty, it's got to be from the dark fired, that nutty, smoky nut flavor, which is pretty damn cool. That depending on my mood, I can have this blend taste two different ways. I mean, I don't really know of another blend. I'm going to try to start paying attention to that. Maybe I'll go back and start testing a lot of my old tobaccos that I thought were only narrow bowl tobaccos and maybe start smoking them in wider bowls just to see. Like, am I missing something? But this blend was a lot of fun. I hate, not that this blend needs any more hype, and you can't get it right now anyway, but I hate, hyping up any kind of small batch blend because it sucks because it's limited and you can't get it. And I really don't do it. I don't think I've done it for any other small batch except Carolina Red Flake. I liked a lot. Yeah, man, this one is really, really good. I honestly, I am genuinely impressed. Not that I thought Cornell and Diehl couldn't put out good stuff or whatever. I was never a huge fan of their blends. There's no other blend that they do on the regular that I really love that I need in my life. Not that I think that, not that I thought that they couldn't, produce great stuff. I just didn't see them this way. This was really kind of an eye opener for me. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say, but I'm kind of blown away by the blend. It's an amazing winter tobacco for me. I know that. Like, I would love to have this around Christmas. And I only bought one tin. I actually could go get another tin, to be honest with you. I did not buy this on Smoking Pipes. I let it go. I walk into my B&M and he's got it. And he's got more and I can go get more. Actually, this tin right here, I'm going to tell you what it is. It is tin number 839 of 12,000. As much as I like the blend, I would never stock up on it. I wouldn't buy like 15 tins for 3 days in a row because I just like too many tobaccos. I like to rotate. And this, as you know, if you listen to this podcast at all, I am a depending on the season will determine my blend type. This is strictly going to be, I think, things change all the time, but this is going to be my winter blend, and not exclusively either, because I still like English blends. I mean, I only get like one bowl a day, and not even every single day, so it's just impossible for me to stock up like so deep on every single blend I like. I've already done that with Virginias that are my number one, so everything else, I'm going to be like a couple tins here and there, and I'm more than happy to get this when it comes out, 2 tins, put one away, smoke one then, and you can have one aging. And I'm totally fine rotating that. But I really, really love the idea of having this for Christmas. I mean, I would probably start smoking this. Man, you could start smoking this. I mean, anybody, you could smoke it whenever you want. But for me, I could even probably start that in October, November, December, January, February. I mean, we're supposed to have the snow apocalypse this weekend, which I kind of wanted to get this podcast out for, because I think we might need some distractions, guys. So I'm just doing my part. But snow apocalypse is supposed to be, it's Friday right now. It's supposed to be Sunday here in the Northeast. So this will probably get put out tomorrow. So it'll be just in time. But I could see myself smoking this, the rest of January and then into February for sure. And then maybe March, trying some, starting to get into some springtime stuff. But man, just the aromas on it in the tin and the flavors on the tongue, it's a lot of fun. And the story makes it. So yeah, I mean, if you're really, really don't like dark fired, I would say you shouldn't get this. And if you just love a ton of dark fire, I don't know if this will be enough for you. I would think so, because it's probably too much for me. But if you watch YouTube videos and you ever see Beans 316, he loves very, very strong tobaccos. And you're probably hearing my dogs walk around right now. All right, go lay down. Sorry. I have 2 rescue dogs and they're nuts. But if you watch Beans 316, he didn't like the blend, but I think he only smoked a couple bowls of it, maybe one. He does his impressions right away. And but I don't know if it was strong enough for him. He likes really, really strong stuff. So if you have his palate, this might not be for you. See, what's funny is I like his videos a lot. And when he doesn't like something because it's too light, I think to myself, I might like that, because I know I kind of got a really good idea of what his palate is. And if he thinks it's too light, it might be just great for me. And then when he's like, he loves it, I'm thinking, oh, this might be too strong for me. And I'm hoping you do the same thing with me. You kind of got an idea of where my palate is. Here's my other dog. Now they're hanging out in here. They're 2 like 50-pound rescue pit bulls, and they're just love their dad. All right, go lay down, girls. I'm busy. And with their nighttime snack. Come on, beat it. So, yeah, hopefully you get a sense of, and that's what we're supposed to be doing here, and that's what I do with other videos, get a sense for what my palate is, and when I explain something to you, and you smoked other blends that I've done in the past, and you know how to judge them, so you use what I tell you to gauge whether or not you might like something or not. But this is a lot of fun. I'm really glad I got it. I might go back and just grab one other tin and just put it away, just so I have one with a year on it. And again, I love the story. And yeah, this is a nice Christmas blend without being an aromatic. I like the Wee Three Kings, and I have one that's aged with 5 years on it, but that's really aromatic. This has a sweetness, and if you watch reviews or you watch that Smoking Pipes video, you might hear the word maple thrown out there. I could see that. For me, it's more like a burnt brown sugar, but it's not like an aromatic topping or anything like that. It's a lot of fun, and I'm sorry if you're kicking yourself right now because you didn't get it. But hey, man, we can't get everything. We can't chase every one of these blends. I would almost err on not buying it and listening to the reviews and then buying it the next year. I have so many pipe tobaccos that I really like and then I enjoy. And I'd rather do that and kick myself for not buying it than buy it and think it sucks and be like, I can't believe I bought this. So if that's you, if you got some, congratulations. I hope you love it. If you missed it and you think you might like it, don't worry. It'll be out next year. This was probably one of their biggest hits of the year, if not the biggest. And I'm positive it'll be out again. I can't guarantee it's going to be out in 2026 because sometimes they skip a year. But when you see it, grab it. You'll be fine. Unfortunately, because I thought it is too, usually I try to give you an idea of a blend that you might want to try that it's something like, because I even said that in another podcast, don't worry about chasing these small batches because there's probably something out there that tastes just like it. I don't know any tobacco that tastes like this. And I hate saying that. I want to curse right there, but I held it back. But there's and maybe some guys do know some, that taste like this, but I haven't come across any. Whoa. Okay. All right. I'm going to wrap up this episode here. I don't have anything else for you guys today. I don't have any questions or feedback. You guys must be busy. So if you want to reach out to me, I do have the YouTube channel, but all that does is feed from the podcast. So I'm not actually making any videos. It's just the actual feed. Instead of listening to a podcast through a podcast app, you can listen right on my YouTube page too. Well, that's it, boys. I'm going to wrap this up. Check the show notes if you want to watch that video from smokingpipes.com and Jeremy Reeves and the family that owns 31 farms in St. James Perique. It's really worth watching. Very cool. If you need to get a hold of me, my email will be in the show notes, and there's a feedback form in the show notes. I'm on Instagram, Talking Tobacco. I'm out there. So, yeah, if you need something, let me know. If you have questions for the show, if there's a topic you want to cover, you could put anything you want in that feedback form. I'll read it as long as it's, normal shit. And that's it. All right, boys. Good luck with the snow. Hope your families are safe and warm. And I'll catch you next time.